So, once upon a time, many years ago, I was in 3rd grade. It was a good year. I enjoyed 3rd grade, learned a lot of stuff. But there was one thing in particular that I was terrified of admitting to anyone. As a 3rd grade student in Mrs. Jerkaski's class, I was the only person out of 24 of us who could not draw a star. Pretty basic for a 3rd grader, but it was something I just hadn't grasped yet. This was particularly humiliating because during math class we got to grade each other's papers, and if you get 100%, it's only customary to put a star on it. Now I got around this by drawing lots of other things. I drew hearts, I drew butterflies, turkeys around Thanksgiving, so I was creative with what I did. But I remember one particular math class in 3rd grade where Mrs. Jerkaski was looking around and I was still working on a particularly fantastic rainbow, if I do say so myself. And she asked me why I was taking so long, and I told her my rainbow wasn't done yet. And that's when she first asked me, "Well, Jennifer, why aren't you drawing a star?" I put my head down and I looked at the ground, and I could feel my face turning bright red as I sheepishly said to the class, "I don't know how." And it hurt to say that out loud because I was a very proud, and sometimes continue to be a very proud 3rd grader. And I didn't want everyone to know that I couldn't draw a star because that made me different from them and that made me lesser than them. But instead of the teasing and the taunting and the punishment that I had expected, Mrs. Jerkaski took time out from math class, and I believe it was fractions, so we could have all used a time out from fractions at that point, and taught me and the rest of the class how to draw a star. And she taught us a couple of different ways, and she was very creative, so she did it in a way that didn't make me feel abandoned. You're probably thinking to yourself, that is a great story about Jen Kline as a child, but what does it have to do with anything? Well, I think that sense of pride and humiliation is what we find in the gospel this week. These men are fishermen by nature. It's their job, and they're not doing so well, which has to be a little bit humiliating. And then Jesus comes out of nowhere and is like, "Hey, guys, why don't you do this instead? Why don't you try this?" And you can even hear a little sarcasm in Simon Peter's tones. "Well, we've been trying all night, but if you say so, I guess we can." He's sticking close to his pride because he's a fisherman, and this is what he knows how to do, and he knows how to do it well. But then Jesus is right, and they catch all of those fish, and you can see how the pride leaves Simon Peter, and how he wants Jesus to depart from him because he is sinful. But letting go of that pride was something that was really beneficial to him. He got his great catch, and he was allowing himself to be helped, which is sometimes greater for us than even asking for help. Putting aside our pride and letting other people in is something that's very good for us, but it's also very humiliating at times. So I invite you this week to try new things, always try new things, but try asking for help, because sometimes you need to be helped as much as other people need to help you. So lay aside your pride, and you'll see what kind of fantastic things can happen, because I can draw a star now.